These are the games that I have prop queen edges in. Let me just tweet out real quick that I'm doing prop queen edges of the day. NBA prop queen edges of the day. Okay. Starting with this game between the Pelicans and the Pacers, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Pacers are laying 4, total 241.5. Buyer beware. The Pacers are on the front leg of a back-to-back. They go on the road to Detroit tomorrow to face Shawn Michaels' Pistons. Starting with the Pacers shooting guard Andrew Nembhard, over 17.5 points. He only had 7 points on December 20th in the last game against the Pelicans, but yet the prop 17.5. So isn't that kind of telling? Benedict Mathurin played in that game too, and now he's out tonight. Nembhard's averaging 19.5 points per game without Mathurin and 16 with him. The Pelicans allow the third most points per game this year. 58% of shooting guards have gone over their points prop against the Pelicans. 43% went over as power forwards, so it doesn't look as great for Pascal Siakam, even though his number's pretty high for his points prop. If he was on the road, I'd actually take Siakam, but his home road splits are drastic, and he does not shoot the ball as well at home. On the road, it would be different. I was actually willing to take an over if this was a road game, but it is not. So Andrew Nembhard over his points for the Pacers tonight. For the Pels, their small forward, Trey Murphy. The only thing I don't love about the over 9.5 rebounds plus assists is that he had 10 in the last game. So this number's still at 9.5, juice to the over. He's averaging like 10.5 rebounds plus assists on the road this year. He's actually gone over Trey Murphy, his 9.5 rebounds plus assists, in 73% of road games. He's not shooting the ball as well on the road, which is why in propaganda I did not like the Trey Murphy over points because his home road splits. If it was home, different story. But on the road, he is not shooting the ball well. But Murphy's averaging just under 7 rebounds per game on the road and 4 assists. So that's about 10 to 11 rebounds plus assists. The Pacers are allowing the third most rebounds per game. 60% of small forwards have gone over their rebound plus assist prop in the last 10 games against the Pacers. So Trey Murphy over. Cavaliers and Sixers. Sixers laying 3, total 233.5. Sixers are home. These two just played 2 nights ago. Darius Garland's out, though, with a foot injury. Again, what should have happened in game 1 that didn't should now happen in game 2. Cleveland center Jarrett Allen, terrible on the boards in the last game. It was the Evan Mobley show on the boards, who had 13 rebounds. But yet Jarrett Allen is averaging just under 10 rebounds per game against the Sixers in his career. Even with Evan Mobley, that number's about the same. Allen's gone over in 6 of his last 8 games against Philly, 3 of 4 in Philly. So again, Mobley had the big game. But the last game so Jarrett Allen played Joel Embiid the last 2 times. The last one was obviously Wednesday where he sucked. The game before that, Allen had 13 rebounds, and that was with Evan Mobley. The 76ers are still allowing the 10th most rebounds per game. So I'm going to go with the over on Jarrett Allen this time. Now he'll have the big game on the boards. Tyrese Maxey. He has sucked the last, back-to-back home games? Not sucked. He had a 22-point game. The other game sucked. But 22 is below average for Tyrese Maxey this year. His points prop's 26.5. His 3-point prop's 3.5, plus money to the over, plus 135. Well, Maxey's averaging about 4 threes a game this year when he's up against teams that are a bottom 10 perimeter defense. The points is where I get a little sketched out, but I truthfully think since these two just faced each other 2 days ago at home in Philly, and now again Tyrese Maxey's getting the same opponent at home in Philly, that the book is telling us that Tyrese Maxey's going off tonight. 28 points, 4 or 5 threes against the Cavs team that's allowing the 10th most points per game, 8th most threes per game. Tyrese Maxey over or nothing for me. Bulls, Nets. Nets laying 2 at home, total 225.5. Josh Giddey's still out with a hamstring injury. These two teams played December 3rd in Chicago. Brooklyn won 113-103. The Bulls point guard, Trey Jones, he's been great the last few games, dishing the ball out 7 and 8 times. He's averaging 7 assists per game without the team's assist leader in Giddey. He's only averaging 5 assists per game with Giddey, but without Giddey, it's up to 7. Since Jones didn't play the last game against Brooklyn due to a sprained left ankle, he should pick up the assists for Giddey, who had an 11-assist performance in the last game against Brooklyn. The Nets are allowing the 10th most assists per game, 53% of point guards have gone over their assist prop in the last 10 against the Nets. So maybe go Trey Jones over his assists for the Bulls. Fishy line alert. Ooh, I'm going to run the fishy line graphic. I don't really get to run it a lot. Fishy line graphic. This is a fishy line. Nic Claxton's rebound prop makes absolutely no sense because he's got a 7.5 rebound prop, but he's got over 7.5 rebounds in 5 straight games against the Bulls. So as much as the Bulls have struggled all year against centers, in the last 10 games, 9 of the last 10 centers have actually gone under their rebound prop against Chicago. So I smell a fishy line in this rematch since Nic Claxton went over this number in the last game, and he's gone over it in 5 straight against the Bulls. It makes no sense. So I would be very weary of this 7.5 number on Nic Claxton. It seems a little too good to be true against the Bulls team that's been better in limiting rebounds to centers so far. I am not handicapping the Clippers and Toronto game because we've got the Clippers, Kawhi is out, Zubats and John Collins are questionable. Toronto, Emmanuel Quickly's questionable. RJ Barrett and Jakob Poeltl are out, so I have absolutely zero interest in this game. Minnesota and Houston, we can take advantage of some injuries. Anthony Edwards is dealing with an infection in his toe, so he is out tonight for Minnesota. Who benefits from that? Julius Randle rebounds does. So Julius Randle's rebounds, he's averaging 8 rebounds a game without Anthony Edwards and his prop 6.5. In fact, he's gone over in 6 of 8 games, including both against the top 10 defense. So they face 2 top 10 defenses, which is, of course, they're getting Houston, a huge team, great defense this year, one of the best in the NBA. So how does Julius Randle do in those spots? Well, they face 2 teams without Anthony Edwards, Golden State and Brooklyn, that are top 10 in points allowed. Julius Randle had 9 and 11 rebounds in those games without Anthony Edwards. Randle's had 8 or more rebounds in 2 of his last 3 games against the Rockets. So I'm going to go over there on Julius Randle rebounds tonight. Offensively, Jaden McDaniels has benefited from no Anthony Edwards. He's gone over 15.5 points in 6 of 8 games without him, including 22 and 17 against the Warriors and the Nets, the 2 top 10 defenses they face without Ant-Man. He's also had over 2.5 assists in 5 of the last 6 games without Ant-Man, 4 of those 6 with 5+ assists. So this number at 2.5 is really low. I know it's tough. It's the Houston Rockets, great defense, but he's proven it before. So maybe over assists, maybe over points. I'm a little more scared about the points for Jaden McDaniels against Houston. Maybe it's 2.5 assists we take advantage of. The big men in Houston, because Minnesota, I was curious about, because Minnesota's top 10 in rebounds allowed. So they're not allowing a lot of rebounds to their opponents. Of course, you've got Julius Randle in Minnesota. You've got Rudy Gobert. So how do the bigs in Houston do against a tougher opponent? Well, Jabari Smith Jr. is the one that benefits. Over 14.5 points, over 6.5 rebounds. He's averaging, Jabari Smith Jr., 15 points per game against the top 10 defense this year, 17 points a game at home against the top 10 defense, and 9 rebounds. They take Alperen Sengun out of the game in Houston. Sengun, I would go under 20.5 points. He's only averaging about just under 19 points a game overall against the top 10 defense, and at home that drops to just about 17 points a game. He's also averaging about 9 rebounds, which is right around that 9.5 prop, and 6 to 6.5 assists, which is his 6.5 assist prop. The points are off. So unless Alperen Sengun, which he can, he's mini joker, again, on any given moment, he could go off. But the numbers are telling me Jabari Smith Jr. is the offensive producer, and Alperen Sengun is not on these kinds of nights, and he should go under. Again, the only difference would be if Minnesota is completely lost without Anthony Edwards and someone decides to not play defense because they have to play a more offensive role. But I'm just going to stick to the numbers like I always do in the NBA. And Jabari Smith overs, Alperen Sengun under points is the way I would play those bigs against the Minnesota Timberwolves. So what are my favorite bets of the night? This is Royal Locks. Did not have a time to make a graphic for my Royal Locks because I was rushing to get on air. My favorite of the night's probably Julius Randle over 6.5 rebounds. The number is just really off for a player that's averaging about 8 rebounds a game without Anthony Edwards. He's also gone over with 9 and 11 rebounds against top 10 defenses without Anthony Edwards this year. So I really like Julius Randle over his rebounds tonight. I like the Jabari Smith points, the Sengun under points as well. So I'd be looking in those directions. But again, you could check out, Jarrett Allen over 8.5 rebounds too. I really like that one since he has a really good history against Philly. And Evan Mobley had the big night 2 nights ago against the Sixers. So now it's Jarrett Allen's turn, who had 13 rebounds the game prior to that against Joel Embiid. So we'll go over there.